I want to talk about an impression that I've seen over and over again on social media sites, specifically avoidant forums, that avoidant personality disorder is the nice personality disorder. And so that therefore the people who are posting should be nice. I like to say, for the record, this is not true. I suppose if you put them on the spectrum, and it's usually people with other personality disorders that are saying it. Okay, you've got borderlines. Borderlines, they can be all right. But if they're untreated, they are chaos. I can see why people wouldn't want to be around a borderline person. I personally, unless they've been through therapy, unless they've had a completed session of DBT and were actively, I could see that they were working the steps that they needed to work, I wouldn't want to be around a borderline person. I'll tell you right, there we go. Go ahead, throw me out for hearing that. Narcissist, I mean, this is the big trigger right now. It's all over the media. That, oh, narcissists are the most, well, they're really hard to deal with. Schizoids couldn't care less about anybody else. They do their own thing. And that's all there is to it. And they don't care. Okay, I can see why they would get bad rap. So I guess avoidant, yeah, avoidant would be top of the heap. But the, you know, and also they're generally really quiet because you're usually introverted. However, that doesn't mean that they're nice people. It doesn't mean they're meek people. It doesn't mean that they can get, that, you know, you can bowl them over and they're pushovers. Not at all. I mean, it's absolutely classic that an avoidant person would say, oh my goodness, this person, that person, the other person, they were so shocked when I actually spoke up. Oh my goodness. And I have to tell you right off the bat, and I think this, everybody should know this, especially not avoidant people, but a lot of people, avoidant people anyway, if there's something they're really very personally involved in, and they want to talk about it, it's really hard to do that. Because you think, not only are you going to be judged by what you're saying, but then you're going to be judged by your own personal opinion. It's double hard. And so a lot of times they use anger as a fuel in order to talk about whatever they're talking about. So if you go on social media sites, mental health forums, avoidant personality forum, and you have somebody that's avoidant and they're angry, what that means is this really means something to them. And they're building up this anger in order to use it as fuel, in order to get over the avoidant hump of there's nothing that I have to say that's worthy of talking about and nobody wants to hear me anyway. You got to get over that to post on an avoidant forum. And a lot of times you need anger to fuel that. Now the thing is, avoidant forums, they usually 9 out of 10 aren't avoidant. At least you get a ton of people who are the Google Abbeys, who looked up the symptoms, think that's them, and like I said before, you know, yes, it hurts, etc., but nobody has the distance to be able to objectively judge themselves and see if they really have it. As a matter of fact, and of course, you'll comment, I'll hear about it. I'll hear, well, my cousin's uncle's blah, blah, blah. I've personally never heard of somebody who looked up the symptoms, got a diagnosis, and it was accurate. Ever. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I'm saying it's extremely rare. Anyway, I read on one of these forums today from a this is a person who does not have a diagnosis and doesn't even claim to have avoidant personality disorder, talking to somebody who is avoidant and got an original diagnosis and then went back to a second doctor and got a second diagnosis. So this is talking to an avoidant, and this is what they said. You have one of the strongest personalities on here, especially in this subforum, and you're very hostile. Those are rather non-AVPD traits themselves. Wrong. No, that is not true. That is not true. As a matter of fact, I've never met a truly wishy-washy avoidant person, mostly because the ones I talk to actually talk. So I'm sure that the ones who are really wishy-washy just don't speak up. But yeah, if you're talking to an avoidant on a forum, they have an extremely strong personality, and you should feel honored to be able to get to know them, because not a lot of people do. So that's wrong. And being hostile, that would be the anger. In other words, this person really feels about what they're posting about. And again, you should respect that. They went on to say, you say a lot of things on here in a lot of threads that make the threads rather uncomfortable. Nope. They don't make the threads uncomfortable. The threads are words on a website. The threads aren't uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable is if you don't have the balls to say it. So you're pretending that you know what these, non-living things are feeling. Give me a break. There, how you like that? I'm taking you as literally as you take the rest of the avoidance. It's just wrong. What that is a non-avoidant. And a non-avoidant, by the way, is somebody who doesn't have an actual diagnosis. This includes all the other personality disorders that float in there. They're the ones that think the avoidant is the nice personality disorder and give people that impression. You get a ton of borderlines in these forums who don't like that diagnosis. They've read up on it. They're terrified of the ways that people behave. They're really scared that that's how they behave, and that's the impression people have. So they say, oh, but I don't care. My doctor doesn't know me. I know me best. Oy vey. I know me best, and I say I'm avoidant. No, you're not. You're borderline. Go with your diagnosis. Do what you can to get better. That's them, or it's the people who looked up a few traits, which, by the way, traits can change. They are a habit. Yes, you've got to put effort into it. No, it won't take care of all the terrible things that caused you to have the avoidant traits. However, what it will do, if you get rid of your avoidant traits, is then you'll be able to actually work on improving what it is that's underneath it all that's making you act in an avoidant way. You can progress. You can make progress. Don't stay on an avoidant site. Friends of avoidance or whatever. All these people. Yes, I understand. You like talking on a thing, and you don't like somebody pointing out to you how 100% wrong you are. It's for your own good. If you're not avoidant, don't pretend you are. Get better. And definitely don't go on there and tell. I mean, this is literally just trying to muzzle an avoidant on an avoidant forum. It's ridiculous. And avoidants aren't nice, so don't have that impression that they're pushovers, that you can bully them into whatever. No. If you've already tapped an avoidant's anger and then you try to muzzle them, oh, forget it. Forget it. You're going to get just nailed to the wall. So, no. We're not nice, and that's good, because we're not trying to blow smoke up your ass. We're going to give it to you straight. I'm giving it to you straight. Except if you're on an avoidant forum, you don't have a diagnosis from a doctor, then you're a guest, and that's all.